If you tell someone in America, "I've been so busy," you don't get sympathy. You get respect. You get admiration. You get validation. Being busy isn't just a schedule there. It's a status symbol. And here's the uncomfortable question. What if being busy has quietly replaced being happy? Think about it. When someone asks, "How are you?" what's the most common answer? Busy, not good, not peaceful, not fulfilled, busy, as if exhaustion is proof of importance, as if burnout is a badge of honor, as if rest is something you have to earn. And even then, you feel guilty taking it. Why do Americans romanticize being busy? Why does a packed calendar feel like success? Why does slowing down feel like failure? Let's be honest, in America, busyness is tied to identity. From a young age, kids are asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Not who do you want to become, but what do you want to produce? Productivity is planted early, achievement is praised early, competition starts early, and by the time adulthood arrives, being constantly in motion feels normal. But here's where it gets deeper. America was built on hustle, on survival, on the idea that if you work hard enough, you can build anything. The American dream was never about balance. It was about grinding, sacrificing, pushing, proving generations. Grew up believing that rest is laziness and comfort is weakness. So being busy became moral. Being busy became noble. Have you noticed how often people say, "I'll sleep when I'm dead"? Why is that funny? Why is self-neglect entertaining? Why is burnout almost celebrated? Scroll through social media. What do you see? Rise and grind. No days off. Hustle harder while they sleep. You work, and millions of people like it. Share it. Repeat it. But what's the hidden message? That if you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough. That if you have free time, you're falling behind. That if you're not building something constantly, you're wasting your life. And here's the twist. Many Americans aren't even busy with things they love. They're busy surviving, paying bills, managing debt, juggling multiple jobs, health insurance tied to employment, rent that keeps rising, a system that doesn't slow down, so they can't either. So is it really romanticizing? Or is it coping? Because when a culture makes survival exhausting, people start reframing exhaustion as success. It feels better to say, "I am busy chasing my dreams," than to admit, "I'm tired and scared of falling behind." It feels empowering to say, "I don't have time," than to say, "I don't feel safe slowing down." But here's the psychological layer most people don't talk about. Being busy protects you from thinking. When you're constantly working, scrolling, commuting, building, planning, you don't have to sit with your thoughts. You don't have to confront loneliness, or doubt, or questions about purpose. Busyness becomes noise, and silence becomes threatening. Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable some people get when they have nothing to do? Why does stillness feel so heavy? Why does a free Sunday sometimes feel more stressful than a Monday morning meeting? In many parts of the world, rest is integrated into life. Meals are long, conversations are slow, vacations are mandatory, family time is sacred. But in America, rest often feels transactional. You rest to recharge so you can work more. You take vacation so you don't burn out and quit. Even relaxation has a productivity purpose, and the economy reinforces it. The more you work, the more you earn. The more you earn, the more you consume. The more you consume, the more you have to work to maintain that lifestyle. Bigger house, new car, better phone, more subscriptions, and suddenly, busyness isn't just admired, it's required. But let's ask a hard question. Who benefits most from a population that glorifies being busy? Is it the individuals? Or is it the system? When people measure their worth by output, they rarely question their workload. When exhaustion becomes normal, overwork becomes invisible. And when everyone is competing, few people pause long enough to ask, "Is this even what I want?" And here's something fascinating. Americans often say they value freedom more than anything. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom to pursue happiness. But how free is someone who can't take a day off without anxiety? How free is someone who feels guilty resting? How free is someone whose identity collapses without work? If your worth disappears when you're not productive, is that freedom? There's also a cultural pride attached to being self-made, the idea that you did it all on your own, that you worked harder than everyone else, that you earned every inch. And while ambition is powerful, it also creates pressure. Because if success is entirely your responsibility, then failure must be too. So you keep working, and working, and working, because slowing down feels like admitting weakness. But what if constant busyness isn't strength? What if it's fear? Fear of being average, fear of being forgotten, fear of not mattering, fear of not keeping up. And here's another angle, technology. Americans are hyper-connected. Emails don't stop after 5 p.m. Slack notifications, text messages, social media. The line between work and life is blurry. You're reachable all the time, so you feel obligated all the time. Even downtime is interrupted. Even vacations come with laptops. And when everyone is available 24/7, the expectation becomes 24/7. Do you think it's possible to truly rest in a culture that rewards speed? Can you slow down when everyone around you is accelerating? Let's talk about comparison. America is deeply competitive. Rankings, performance reviews, social status, income brackets, followers, metrics, you're constantly measured. And in a culture of measurement, doing more becomes proof that you are more. Busyness becomes evidence of ambition, and ambition becomes social currency. But what's the cost? Mental health statistics tell a story: anxiety, depression, burnout, loneliness, people feeling disconnected, despite being constantly active. How can someone be so busy and still feel empty? How can someone be surrounded by work and still feel purposeless? Because activity is not the same as meaning. You can fill every hour of your day and still feel lost. You can achieve milestones and still feel restless. You can be admired for your hustle and still go to bed feeling unseen. So why don't more people slow down? Because slowing down can feel like falling behind. In a culture that moves fast, stillness looks suspicious. If you're not chasing something, people wonder what's wrong. If you're content, they assume you lack ambition. If you prioritize balance, they question your drive. But what if balance is actually strength? What if choosing rest is discipline? What if saying no is power? Here's a question for you. Do you think being busy makes someone more important? When someone tells you they have no time, do you subconsciously respect them more? Why? And if you're honest, how often do you say you're busy, even when you're just overwhelmed, or distracted, or unsure how to explain your emotions? Busyness is a socially acceptable shield. It sounds better than saying, "I don't know who I am without my work." It sounds better than saying, "I'm afraid of stopping." It sounds better than admitting that maybe we've tied our self-worth to productivity. There's also pride in sacrifice. Parents working multiple jobs for their kids. Entrepreneurs grinding through sleepless nights. Students juggling classes and part-time work. Sacrifice is honorable. But when does sacrifice turn into self-erasure? When does dedication turn into self-neglect? And here's something subtle. Americans often equate movement with progress. If you're moving, you must be advancing. But is that always true? Can you run in circles and still feel productive? Can you stay busy to avoid confronting the fact that you're not fulfilled? What if sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop? What if clarity comes from quiet? What if growth requires rest? Some of the most creative breakthroughs in history didn't happen during intense hustle. They happened during reflection, walks, vacations, pauses. The brain needs space. The heart needs space. But when a culture glorifies constant motion, space feels dangerous. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you did nothing without guilt? No scrolling, no multitasking, no background noise, just stillness. Did it feel peaceful or uncomfortable? And if it felt uncomfortable, why? Because when you're not busy, you have to face yourself. And that's the part many people avoid. Now, this isn't about criticizing Americans. It's about understanding the psychology of a system that rewards speed and output. There's brilliance in ambition. There's power in hard work. There's beauty in striving. But when striving becomes identity, life shrinks. Because you are more than what you produce. You are more than your deadlines. You are more than your calendar. But do you believe that? Or does a part of you still feel that your value depends on how much you get done? And here's the irony. Many Americans work tirelessly to one day slow down. They say, I'll relax after I make it. I'll rest when I retire. I'll enjoy life later. But later keeps moving. The goalpost shifts. The target grows. And decades pass in busyness. So here's the real question. What is all this busyness for? Is it for security? For status? For validation? For survival? For meaning? And if you remove money and comparison from the equation, how busy would you actually choose to be? Imagine a world where rest was admired as much as hustle, where saying I had a peaceful day earned the same respect as I worked 14 hours, where productivity didn't define personality. How different would life feel? Do you think Americans would be happier if they slowed down? Or do you think the drive is what gives life its spark? Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. Ambition without rest becomes burnout. Rest without purpose becomes stagnation. The issue isn't work. It's worshiping work. The issue isn't being busy. It's believing that busyness equals worth. So next time someone says, I'm so busy, listen closely. Is it pride? Is it pressure? Is it fear? Is it survival? And next time you say it, ask yourself, am I busy building the life I want? Or am I just afraid to stop? I want to know what you think. Do you believe being busy is a sign of success? Or do you think it's a modern trap? Have you ever felt guilty for resting? Have you ever judged someone for not working hard enough? Be honest, because this conversation matters. Because maybe the most radical thing someone can do in a culture obsessed with hustle is to breathe. And maybe true freedom isn't the ability to work endlessly. Maybe true freedom is the ability to choose when not to.